Blessings, everyone. Happy Saturday morning to you. Most of you who are here with me are tuning in from the United States. I'm streaming to you live from Hoedspruit, South Africa, where it is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So good morning to you. Good afternoon to me. Welcome to Saturday Morning Musings. This is up until the past couple of months has been Sunday Night Alive, which will return to Sunday Night Alive when I return from South Africa in January. But for now, we're Saturday Morning Musings. My name is Denise Schubert. I'm the founder and director of A Life of Spiritual Power, and we are here to have relevant conversations about life from a particularly spiritual perspective. So if you're here with me the first time, please in the comments say hello. I will be happy to see your face and to see your name. Our topic tonight or today is don't waste one more minute of your life. Don't waste one more minute of your life. You know, it's been that the conversations I have with you are really more of an extension of the conversations I have with myself. And so I've clearly been having conversations with myself about making choices and decisions of what to do and really bumping up against what it takes to actually make those decisions. So we're going to revisit that today because it's a relevant conversation for everyone all of the time. You know, like don't waste one more minute of your life. So before we do that, I'm going to just take a moment and bless our time here together. I am a spiritual teacher. I am an ordained minister. Obviously, the conversations I want to have with you are faith-based, meaning a belief in something greater than ourselves or something more, something metaphysical, some practical spiritualities that we can actually, tools we can use to navigate this crazy world we live in. And so I just invite you within the context of a blessing, which is call something sacred, which is to simply just turn within for a moment. So any conditions in your life, any circumstances in your life, any people, places, or things that are occurring for you, we let all of that just melt away for a moment as we turn within together to the space and place and dimension within us that is whole, perfect, and complete. This place and space and dimension within us that is really has a spiritual name, a spiritual identity. The thing that connects you and I together is a spiritual thing. The thing that connects you and trees together is a spiritual thing. And so I bless our time together, knowing that if we're taking the time to come together, let's have it be worth it. And let's have it be useful and meaningful and profoundly moving. Why not? And so I just bless our time in advance. And we let it be. And so it is. Amen. So there was a beautiful song when I was when I was early in my spiritual awakening, my movement from purely human to a little bit of both, but from purely human to recognizing the spirit within me, to recognizing the God within, or whatever word you want to use, a higher power. I remember hearing a song by the wonderful New Thought artist, Jamie Lula. And the song is I Will Not Waste One More Minute of My Life. And I remember singing this song with such profound depth and meaning for me because I had felt like I had discovered something so sublimely beautiful about life in my 40s that I had never experienced before or felt before or seen before. So I kind of remember wanting to sit in the middle of a huge commitment to never waste another minute, to look for the good, to look for the beauty, uh, to ultimately what moved into my work, which is to find my self, whatever that was, the Denise I am, or the I am presence within Denise, and to actually live from that place. And I didn't want to waste one more minute not doing that. So, you might ask, what does it mean? What do I mean when I say don't waste a minute? And for me, it means spending any more time than is necessary feeling guilty, feeling bad, feeling confused, feeling left out, feeling resentful, because all of those things conceal from us the beauty, and they conceal from us the possibility. They conceal from us the amazing opportunity that we have. So, another way I would say this is life is best used before your expiration date. You know how you go into the grocery store and your groceries have best if buy? It's kind of that way in my mind, that it's best used before you expire. Now, we will expire. You know, um, all of us have an appearance day, all of us have a disappearance day, or all of us have an expiration date. Um, so I could also talk about that as the dash, right? So I was born in 1951 dash, and then the expiration date hasn't come yet, but there will be one. But in the meantime, between the appearance date and the expiration date, there's a dash, and the dash represents how you lived this very, very, very short period of time. And it's short whether you live for 1 year or 100 years. It really doesn't matter. No matter what it is, it's short. And no matter what it is, you don't really want to waste one more minute of it. So what I know is that the spirit within us is is enthusiastic, brave, bodacious, adventuresome. As most of you know, if you've been following me for any length of time, partly my reason for being in South Africa is to visit Tanya, who is the proprietress. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but anyway, she owns Bush Baby Haven, which is an Airbnb, and she had a child last November. So I came back this November to celebrate Willow Harper's first birthday. And I can assure you that being with this little girl and watching her, her spirit, she is pure spirit. She isn't old enough to be a human yet in the way that we're using it, because she's in the beginning stages of her conditioning, meaning she will be taught from the world, not only her mom, but her aunties and uncles and grandmas and teachers and all of the people around her. She will be taught what life is, what makes life fun, what makes life not fun, what's good, what's bad, what's right and wrong. But for now, she is 100 really percent spirit. And she is so social, so curious, so fearless, so inquisitive, that she roams the world she lives in, uh, uh, open to absolutely everything. And the only thing she cares about is how she feels. She's not interested in how you feel. She's not saying, "Oh, are you happy? Can I be happy because you're happy? Can I be free because you're free?" She's in her own cocoon of spirithood. By the way, and I don't mean helpless or little. I just mean she is as we have all been meant to be for all of our incarnation. So we lose sight over this over time, because we learn, first of all, and also her life is pain-free, right? So despite the occasional gas pain or bump on her head when she falls, she doesn't have any emotional pain, right? There's no hurt, anger, resentment. None of that's there. So by the time by the time we reach 10, I would say about 10 years old, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger. I don't really know, but somewhere along the line, we lose sight, because we're taught to play it safe. We're taught to follow the rules. We're taught to color inside the lines. We're taught to play by the rules. So, which is okay, unless you, of course, have internal urges for something more or something different. That's interesting, because um, I've been so I'm 73, and I actually am quite happy to be 73. Really, I wouldn't have it any other way. And as you know, for the past couple of years, I've been having conversations with people and with myself about what it means to be on the back nine. What does it mean to be in the final third? What does it mean to be in the last quarter in this incarnation, right? And in many ways, the world tells me, not necessarily to my face, but in the way that the world talks about aging, the way the world treats older people, that my decisions and my actions should be influenced by my age. Uh, and so part of the reason for this conversation this week is I've been having this very strong urge when I get home to get an animal companion. Now, this probably doesn't sound like a really big deal, but I've been finding myself arguing with myself about the intelligence of doing that. But I have to tell you, there's only been 2 times in my whole adult life, maybe even all my whole life, where I've been without, cats, particularly animal companions that are cats, Siamese cats to be exact, and, not with them now. Once was when I was, left California in 2006. I did not have animal companions for 2 years. It was very sad for me, but then I found them in Chicago, and I had both those girls. I had sister Jasmine and Lily for 15 years, and I lost them both during COVID. So since COVID, I've not had animals. Why am I talking about this? Well, because I could talk myself out of doing that because I feel too old. Why would I get kittens when I probably will outlive them or blah, 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 blah. But when I think like that, it makes me kind of sad and kind of feel a little trapped. So I have to have the conversation with myself um, over all of this, which has resulted in today's live stream. Conundrum here, in many ways, is as a spiritual teacher, I often talk about how there's only this eternal moment of now. There's only now, right? So the past and the future the past is over, obviously, and there is some experience and value in that experience, and the future's never happened yet. So the teaching would say, forgive the past, let it go, all that anger, resentment, guilt, shame, anything from the past that's keeping you from being happy, let it go. And anything that's causing you to worry or feel limited or restricted about the future, you have to let that go too, because really there's just right this moment. Now, the conundrum is that even though that may be true, we also live in time, right? So the dash is also between our birth and death dates. We also still have a birth date and an expiration date. So it reminds me of this quote by F. Scott Fitzgerald, which I've always loved, which is, the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. And so even though it's true that in reality, in the purity of the spiritual world, there's only now, we also live in a world governed by time, and that's equally as true. So I think I think, well, I know really that the place to go is to the teachings in many ways of Abraham Hicks. And I would guess that many of you know their teachings, but I love to revisit them in this kind of conversation because they have a fundamental theology, which is number one, a theology of joy. And number two, their bottom line, well, they have three bottom line messages. Let's do that first. Three bottom lines. One is they would say to go for the best feeling thing every time. They would call this your internal guidance system, GS, your internal guidance system. And the premise here for them, the spiritual premise, is that if it feels good in your body, if it feels right, if it lifts energy, if it makes you happy, go for it. And conversely, if it makes you miserable or makes you suffer or causes you pain, move away from it, because they would say your internal guidance system is your connection to your highest good, your connection to your higher self, your connection to the spirit, the part of you that is birthless and deathless and eternal. And that when you feel something negative or something diminishing, that you just need to think something else, you need to do something else. So go for the best feeling thing every time. This flies in the face in many ways of what we're taught, because we're taught, um, not taught to suffer, but we're also not taught that the meaning of life is your feeling to feel good. We are not taught that the meaning of life is happiness. And in fact, in some fundamental Christian theologies, in some spoken or unspoken way, often the communication is that the one who suffers most is loved most by God, that the degree of your sacrifice is the degree of your reward after life. And we kind of have to dismantle that, because if you live that way, you could possibly live your entire incarnation in unhappiness. And it's just not, in my view, the divine intention. So, first fundamental teaching of Abraham Hicks is to feel good. First job is to feel good. And uh, one of uh, one of the ways they would word this is the purpose of your life is joy. I mean, just wrap your head around that for a moment. The purpose of your life is joy. Per, um, if every human being believed this and walked around in the state and energy and vibration of happiness and joy, there would be so much less violence, so much less depression, so much less unhappiness. So um, the second uh, major idea is the art of allowing. This is a big teaching from Abraham Hicks, because in fact, if you've ever read Ask and You Shall Receive, the teaching is, if you have a prayer, if you have a request, if you have a desire, if you have a dream, the universe already knows that you have it and is already giving it to you. So if you have this thought, I need more money, there's no resistance on the part of the universe to give you money. The universe gives you money, right? Or you need more closet space, or you need a new car, or you need a better job, or you need friends or a partner. The universe says yes. We teach this all the time, right? The universe says yes to you. Whatever you want, the universe says yes, always. So Abraham Hicks says the problem with your not having what you want or need or desire or dream is not because you can't have it, it's because you won't allow it. So the art of allowing says you have to let your good in. So if you have any sense of undeservingness, or any sense of not good enoughness, or any sense that the world is withholding something from you because you don't deserve it or haven't earned it, that those are all blocks to what you're wanting to actually come to you. Remember Margaret Owens, one of my favorites, another favorite New Thought songwriter and singer, wrote a song in which she said, you cannot fret it in, you can only let it in. So worrying or stressing is actually blocking your good from getting to you, not helping. So it's a major idea, the art of allowing. We have to learn to we have to learn to let it in. So, when it comes to me personally, as I muse and contemplate this, I have to stop myself, and I'm sharing this with you so you can be looking at your own life, your own situation. Mine is not really quite so interesting. It just gives me a platform to talk about it. Is that at 73 years old, I can't really worry about when my expiration date is, right? Like, it's the wrong place to look. I can't fret. I can't be saying, well, God, Denise, you're 73 years old. What if you only live for another 10 years, which is just statistically probably right? Do you not let yourself have joy or happiness now? Do you not embrace what would make you happy? Because I have to tell you, when I think about having um, I live alone, so when I think about having a kitten in the house running and playing and looking to me for love and support, it just makes me happy. It makes me feel connected. Abraham Hicks would say, pay more attention to that than you pay to how old you are. I know it sounds really silly, but if you're 30 years old, these have the same thing applies. And in fact, I wish somebody had had this conversation with me when I was 30 years old. I wish I had learned these ideas, these principles when I was 30 and not when I was pushing 50. Because the truth is, the last 25 years have been so full of joy and so full of meaning and authenticity for me. Like, I just have so been who I am. So, Abraham Hicks says the basis of your life is freedom. That's number one. So the basis of your life is freedom. There's nobody who can keep you in bondage but you. That we are born to be free. We're not born to be victims. We're not born to be at um, held back or restricted by our age, by other people, by our government, by who's president. Our freedom is a birthright. So Abraham Hicks says the basis of your life is freedom. We're gonna do some affirmations together in a moment. We've already done the second one, which is the purpose of your life is joy. And the third one, according to Abraham Hicks, is the objective of your life is growth. So what seems to be true, as far as I can tell, is that life is never a steady joy, 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 joy. It's more like joy, 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 sadness, joy, 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 upset, joy, 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 right, or whatever. Because no matter who you are, every human being has to deal with loss. Every human being has to deal with death. Every human being has to deal with every human being has to deal with people wanting you to do something you don't want to do or be somewhere you don't want to be, or your house burns down or the economy tanks, whatever it is in the world. Does your joy and your freedom have anything to do with any of that? And Abraham would say no, that these are birthrights. These are inheritances that we inherit as spiritual beings in a human body. However, all those experiences help to fulfill growth as your reason for being here. I would say that you chose to incarnate. You are not an accident. You're not an accidental being who just happened to plop onto Earth. That there is a soulful, deeper reason, a deeper choice beyond your conditioning as a human being. So Willow Harper would tell you that the reason to be alive is because life is extraordinary. The reason to be alive is because life is fantastical. That's what if she could talk right now, she would say, how can you not love this? Look at all the colors, look at all the shapes. We just came back from Zanzibar together, and she would say, oh my God, you should feel the sand between your toes, and there's this thing called an ocean. And she would just be bubbling over with the growth and learning how to walk and learning how to talk and learning how to explore. And then she's going to learn how to read and learn how to write and learn how to have friends and learn how to get married and learn how to have her own babies. Life is fantastical. And any adversity along the way is just for growth, to make us stronger, to make us more courageous. So I would, so three things you can explore for yourself. One is to right now, to initiate right now. I don't care if you're 20, I don't care if you're 30, I don't care if you're 50, I don't care if you're 90, is to initiate for the rest of your life a commitment to feeling good. Can you commit to having your life be about feeling good inside, feeling whole, feeling like you're living your best life ever? This is not as easy as it sounds, because sometimes you have to go against what other people want for you. Sometimes you have to go against your own internal judge and jury, which got created by your conditioning. Don Miguel Ruiz called this the domestication process. And sometimes when you break your own rules, you will feel uncomfortable, even though breaking those rules is what you should do in order to live your most authentic life ever. But the invitation here is to just create a commitment to feeling good more often, to feeling good, to doing what makes you happy, to doing what your intuition tells you to do, to follow your internal guidance system, which Abraham would say, well, is never wrong. That if your insides lead you to a decision that feels right, feels good, feels perfect, it probably is. The second invitation is to replace any life-denying thoughts and behaviors you have with life-affirming ones. So a life-denying thought or behavior are ones that diminish the spirit, are ones that deny the beauty in life, deny the joy in life, deny the possibility in life. So any negativity, any negative expectation, any annihilating of other people in your mind, you have to get rid of all that. You have to love life and replace those behaviors with life-affirming ones. So life-affirming ones are really behaviors that add to life and don't take away from it, behaviors that lead to life and don't take away from it. So sometimes this means this thought would have to do with how you eat, how you drink, how you sleep, how you interact with other people. Are you in a job you hate? If you're in a job you hate, those are life-denying behaviors. Find a job you love. Listen, these kinds of things are easy for God or easy for life. To give you a job you love, to give you a body that is healthy, to make sure you have the money you need. It takes us back, right, to the law of allowing. Can you let that kind of good come into your experience? And you can. Listen, if I can, you can. If I can do it, you can do it. And the third invitation is to increase your capacity to trust and to go with the flow. So this earlier I talked about how we're kind of trained to color inside the lines. We're kind of trained to not break the rules, to go along with the crowd. We're kind of trained, we're taught ridiculous things like once you uh, once you say yes to an employer, that you can never leave the employer because you have a commitment. That none of those kinds of worldly things have anything to do with what we're talking about. We're talking about to trust that the universe wants the best for you. your higher self is your higher self wanting the best for you, to trust your internal guidance system, which is how you feel about everything, how you feel about a decision, how you feel about somebody else's decision. You have to trust that and then go with it. Go, be willing to speak your words, speak your mind with love, and to go with the flow of your own existence. Because we're not here alone, you know. Yeah. So, but just be thoughtful. Just be thoughtful in this conversation about, are you happy? Some people hate that question. Are you happy? If you're not happy, what would make you happy? Don't be afraid to answer the question. If you aren't fulfilled, what would make you fulfilled? If you aren't finding meaning in your life, what would help you have meaning in your life? Right? If you're in a situation you don't like, what can you do to shift it or change it or pivot or or diminish it or expand it? It's like, what can you do? And so I would say the bottom line here in my vernacular is to believe that uh, all things are possible, to believe in possibility and not impossibility, no matter what age you are. And it doesn't, it's so easy. The world, I'm going to speak to my older friends here for a minute, but the world has a way of talking around us that would have us think and believe that life is over as you get older, that possibility diminishes, that your sense of well-being and happiness diminishes. I think that's true for many, many people, but not because it's a law of God, not because it has to be. It's because we're taught that, because we live in a culture, we live in an environment where being young is touted as being better than being old. But anybody who's old knows that's not true. I mean, I was no happier at 23 than I am at 73. In fact, I'm way happier at 73 than I was at 23. I'm actually way happier at 73 than I've ever been, ever. Every day. I'm happier today than I've ever been on any given day. And it takes work because in this case, especially when it comes to ageism, we have to fight against the race thought, the race consciousness. We have to fight against what everybody thinks. So if you're one of my older friends, do fight it. Do argue with yourself, but you don't have to make stuff up. You can just lean into Abraham Hicks. All right. So here are I have 3 affirmations for us. And even though I can't see you or hear you, you can say these with me and say them as if you mean them. You can write them down and you can begin to practice and just see what happens. And then we can engage in a conversation about it. And I'll keep you posted about what I do about the cats. But unfortunately, I've already come up with names and genders. So I'm pretty sure if I know enough to know my new animal companion's name, my guess is she's on her way. All right. So here's our first one. The basis of my life is freedom. I claim my independence from old thoughts, patterns, and beliefs. I am free. Now you say it. The basis of my life is freedom. I claim my independence from old thoughts, patterns, and beliefs. I am free. Very good. Number 2, the purpose of my life is joy. Today, I release sadness, morbidity, anger, or boredom. I happily say yes to my purpose, which is joy. Together, the purpose of my life is joy. I release sadness, morbidity, anger, or boredom. I happily say yes to my purpose. Beautiful. And finally, the objective of my life is growth. I say, bring it on. The objective of my life is growth. I say, bring it on. And we say, bring it on because if you, with all of your individualized authenticity, the you that you are, the Denise that I am, if you move into life from that place, you will upset the apple cart. You will rock the boat. You will begin to make changes. And this is nothing but good. But when you do that, right, you say, bring it on, because the objective of your life is growth. I'm willing to grow through this. So you're willing to take on the excitement, take on the risk, be courageous and brave in how you bring yourself into life, because 1951 start date, whatever my end date, I have one dash. What am I going to do with it? So I say today, the message today is, I say, I will not waste one more minute of my life. That's a good affirmation too. I will not waste one more minute of my life. All right. So that is a message for today. I hope you found it relevant for yourself. Yes, because you're here, right? So you're here, and hopefully you have found something in here that will move you through any blocks or anything that might be in the way of your stepping into feeling good and experiencing joy more often. I'm going to pray with us in a minute, but you can go, if you want to, you can go to my website. At my website, you can sign up for my newsletter. You can sign up for a conversation, a coaching session. If you want a little bit of support moving into your best life ever, you can support my ministry through your love offerings and donations. I welcome that. I'm excited to let that in for myself. And that's it. That's it for Saturday morning musings from South Africa. So let's take a moment together, and I will speak a word of prayer. I will speak a word of prayer. So once again, just turn within. Once again, just invite you to let anything on your heart, anything on your mind, anything in life you don't like right now that's causing you heartburn or that you're struggling with, just let it go. Let it melt away from you in this moment. And the invitation to close the outer eyes is to do that, just to simply come back to yourself, get back into yourself. Pull all that external energy back from other people and conditions into yourself. God and you are a majority. Your spirit and you are one. And so I know that as you and I turn within together, that we are all, no matter how many of us are doing this together right now, we are connecting at truly a real place in consciousness, a real heaven on earth experience, the genesis of all that is comes from within us. And so you and I are connected there, as we are with all of the past, all of the future, all of the good yet to come. And so it is from that place of community and connection that is this word for and about every person within the sound of my voice, simply claiming and accepting for you more joy, more trust, more growth, more feeling good moments. No matter what your life situation, I know that as we change our attitudes, our beliefs, our expectations, that what gets created by us as possibility changes as well. I know that as we change and become more kind, compassionate, loving, joy-filled, good-feeling human beings, that everyone we know, our children, our parents, our friends, our co-workers, everyone benefits, because a happy you makes a happy world. And so out of our shared commitment to a more peace-filled, more loving, more compassionate world, let us accept for ourselves the tenets, the teachings of Abraham. The basis of your life is freedom, the purpose of your life is joy, and the objective of your life is growth. And so say yes to this, allow it to permeate every cell in your body and your body of affairs, and go forth and see what happens. And so with this word released into the mandate of the ever affirmative, yes saying universe, we give thanks. We let this be, and we do it together by saying, and so it is. Amen. All right. I think you've done your job today. You've allowed me to talk myself into I'll keep you posted. But in the meantime, I love you. I will see you. Will I see you next Saturday? I will see you next Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for Saturday morning musings. Only 5 more weeks here in Africa, not even 4 more weeks here in South Africa. So I'll see you then. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful week.